Hey everybody, and welcome into another edition of Talk About Watches Live. My name is Tim, and let's talk about watches. So tonight we're going to welcome the founder of Modern Made Man, and we're going to take a look at the Belfort. Now what's cool about this watch is that it lets you custom configure what you would like. You're going to select the finish on the case, then the bezel, then which dial you would like installed in your watch, and then which of 3 leather strap you would like it presented on. Now there's going to be some other cool stuff thrown in too, but if you've ever wanted to consider the Triple M, this is the night to do it. So we're going to welcome Rob here in just a few moments. First, let me cover a couple of things. I highly recommend you join our email list if you haven't yet done so. We're not going to spam you. We hate spam too, but you will have access to our deal of the day. Plus, as a member of that list, you will have access to our closed group on Facebook. And that group gets early access to everything, every deal of the day, and it's free. So you guys need to get in there, and you can do that by just joining the email group. And again, we're not going to spam you. We never sell or rent our list, so your secret is safe with us. So do join us. We'd love to have you along. Also, please join us on social media. Obviously, you're watching us via Facebook Live or YouTube Live, but you can also follow us on Twitter or on Instagram or on Google+. So choose the platforms that you like and follow us, and we'd love to have you along there as well. Also, I want to discuss interest-free payments. Specifically, we work with PayPal Credit, and that means you can take the item tonight and pay this out for 6 months. But here's the thing, no payments, nothing down, and no interest for 6 months. And there's great flexibility, because as long as you've paid that out by the due date, there's no interest at all. But in the meantime, you can pay as you go. You can skip a month or double down on a month or whatever. And if you like the more traditional 6 pay, just divide by 6 and there you go. But otherwise, there's this great flexibility. So look for it on the last page of checkout. There'll be a box there. And if you're interested, just click that. And once you qualify, you are good to go. So it's really just that simple. All right, let's get now officially underway. Oh, one other quick thing. Please do us a favor, and if you like what we do, please share our videos. Share them around on all of your social media. You'll really help us. It'll just take you a few moments, and we greatly appreciate your friendship and support here as we're continuing to build TAW for you guys. So with that stated, let's get underway and welcome Modern Made Man to the show. As a lot of you guys know, TAW loves finding the new stuff, and it's a thrill to welcome Robert Marlinski to the show because he has created a new watch, a new brand. Robert, thank you for joining us. We appreciate that, man.
Yeah, absolutely, Tim. Excited to be here, excited to meet the community. First things first, my name is Robert Marlinski. I'm the founder of Modern Made Man. I created the Belfort watch, which many of you may be familiar with through the social media promotions and everything from our recent launch. Some of you haven't been, so I'm here to inform everybody about our brand and our new watch line.
So let's jump into it, actually, because Robert and I, of course, have been talking off camera. So one of the things I want to get into right up front is how you're ordering this. Now, a lot of you already, through our email list and through our closed group on Facebook, you're already in on this, and frankly, quite a few of these are already gone. But I want to talk about how to order this, because this is very cool. Part of what makes the Belfort fascinating is that this is as close to a custom-made watch that I've come across. Here's what I mean by that. When you order this, and there's going to be, I believe Mike set up drop-down menus for this, you're going to choose the case, as in the case finish, so silver or black. Then you're going to choose the bezel. Do you want silver or black? Then you're going to choose the dial. Do you want silver or black? You see where I'm going here, right? You can choose these combinations as you want it. Then you're going to pick the strap that you want. Now, there's 3 leather straps. One of them I'm wearing. This one is a gray with a contrast stitching, which I just think is really cool. There's also a great luggage brown, again with contrast stitching. And then last but not least, we have it's leather, but there's a nylon top that resembles carbon fiber, obviously the most sporty of the 3. So again, you're going to choose the case finish, the bezel finish, then what color of the dial, and then the leather strap you'd like it presented on. But this gets even better. Robert, tell us about the gift with purchase that you've arranged for us, please.
Yeah, so to top things off, we know this is a special community. We wanted to sweeten up the deal a little bit for everybody, so we're also going to be throwing in some free gifts. With that, the first one is going to be our black NATO strap, it's a great quality strap. I mean, really becoming to be a great strap in the industry. And the second one is going to be our sport strap, which I love this. It's a poly strap, real comfortable to wear, but it just really helps, makes the watch even more versatile.
So as we're jumping into this, I want to get to the price because Robert has really gone all out here. For those of you who don't know, that NATO strap is custom to the Belfort, as is the Poly, and they're both sold separately as a rule. So here's what's going to happen. The watch itself lists for $645, and this is an exhibition back, beautiful exhibition back, by the way, mechanical automatic that we were about to get into. So that's at $645. You not only get this at $399, which again is a TAW exclusive, and we are not guaranteeing this moving forward, so the time to act on this is now, but you will get all the gifts with purchase that Robert mentioned as well. I highly recommend you check out Modern Made Man. This is a fantastic new brand. Actually, technically, it's not all that new. It's roughly, I think, a couple of years old. But the watch is very new on the market, and the Belfort, I predict, is going to be one of the quiet hits, if you will, of this year. I see this having a groundswell, and you're going to see this become very popular very fast, because the more I've been able, and Robert, I'll turn this back over to you, the more I've been able to really to wear one of these and to mess around with them. One of the things that strikes me immediately is that there's a real heft to this watch, and this to me is clearly indicative of a brand that intends to be here for the long haul. You've really built a quality product.
Yeah, that was my goal when starting the brand. There's so many watch brands that come through the industry and they do one model, maybe two models, and then you just kind of see them fizz off and you don't hear from them again. That's why I didn't really rush into getting this watch out there. As excited as I was to be able to put a watch line out there for our brand, I really took my time. It was a little bit over 2 years in development of making this through various prototypes, just really testing it out, making sure we had everything we wanted to be. But I wanted to put a product out in the market that when people first got it, they were going to be blown away and say, "Wow, this is impressive for somebody's first watch in the market." And that shows a lot because I want people to know that we're here to stay. We're not going to be like these other brands that are doing one or two watches and then that's it. We built a nice base for our business the past 2 years, just offering real high quality American-made leather goods. So we have a great customer base. They know our quality products for the leather stuff. And now that they're starting to buy our watches, they had high expectations, and we're exceeding everybody's expectations right now.
I can actually comment on that because you and I have been in touch on and off for the last few months. And then here at the TAW studios, we got the actual shipment where we could see these. And obviously, I'm wearing one. And for example, here's another example of the all white on the brown and so on. And of course, Sebastian's going to show you the ongoing shots of the different combinations. But my point is, I opened up this package, and you take the first watch out, and you literally say, "Wow." The finish that is on this, the physical weight of it, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know what I'm referring to. When you pick up a cheap or poorly made watch, it's kind of tangible, you can feel it, and then conversely, when you pick up a watch that is built brilliantly. And that's the reaction you're going to have with this. I should mention, while I'm thinking about it also, Robert, the packaging on this is
Yeah, yeah,
really a great idea. It's, I guess, your version of a dive case.
yeah. It is a version of dive case. Like the whole style of this watch, I really wanted to be versatile when we were designing it. So, it has that little bit of a classy look, dressy watch to it, but it also has that rugged look to it. And, I thought going with a box like this just kind of topped off that little bit of a rugged look to it.
Yeah, the inside of this is basically filled with a really heavy rubber, and you've got sections that you can take out to put additional straps in. And this is the genuine article. This is a hard shell miniature dive case. It's marked for Triple M, and obviously that is included no matter which watch that you get. And I really like that. I'm a big fan, and I have been for a while, of course, that of great packaging. And I think in an era, and Robert, maybe this is a good place to start another conversation, is in an era where a lot of watch brands are just basically putting it in the cube and or whatever, and they're done.
Yeah.
The fact that you took the time and the expense to create a much more impressive packaging speaks to the company.
Yeah, it comes down to the little details. Even our insert card we put in there, it's just not your typical little flip through white booklet. We did a high resolution photos on it and did nice quality paper for it. And so, the box was just another one of those little details that we made sure we didn't skimp on anything with this project.
So let's delve into the watch because I hear people out there just clamoring to talk about some of the specs. So let's talk about as we're getting into the specs. how you came to craft the watch, because as I wear it, it certainly plays large on the wrist. It's here's the thing: it's a heavy watch, but it's balanced. You don't feel top heavy at all when you
No.
when you wear this. So let's get into the specs and the build a little bit. I believe I'm correct that this is all surgical grade 316L seal. Yes.
Yes, it is. Yep. It's also, what else we got? Sapphire crystal on it.
Nice.
We use the Miyota 9015, which I think is a phenomenal movement. It's a workhorse movement. There's a lot of great reviews out there, as many of the people in the community I'm sure know. I'm sure they've had a watch with this movement in there. Um, we use Hadley Roma straps, which is another American brand here out of Florida. They have great products, great quality.
Well, I've worked with Hadley Roma on and off for the better part of 15 years, and I can tell you, if and when I were to ever bring out my own watch brand, Hadley Roma is doing the straps. For those of you who don't know, Hadley Roma has been around for a very long time. They started to come into call brand prominence in the early 2000s. In fact, I was working with them on television for a while. They have done some straps for very, very high end, and I'll even name drop just a couple. They have done straps for Breitling. They have done straps, I'm pretty sure, for Cartier. I know they do the Shinola straps, and they build a lot of exotic straps that are just private labeled, and they're very high end, and you wouldn't know that they're the builder, but they are based out of Florida. I've been through their facility. In fact, we're showing you some of the footage now, where I actually did a video tour of the facility, and eventually we're going to bring this out as a short film, and you guys can see it. But this is very high end, and part of what I love about Hadley Roma is that they specialize in both the high end leather and also the exotics, and they build an absolute top flight product. And which comes back, I think, Robert, to get you to comment a bit on this, is that the the fact that they do build the top flight, it speaks to the insistence from your side to go with quality, because obviously you could have gone with a much less expensive source.
Yeah, we could have. We tested a lot of straps, like I said, over the last 2 years, but when it came down to it, I wanted to make sure I was putting the most quality in this watch. I mean, I think it really speaks a lot for us that a final assembly of this watch is done right here in Florida as well, which was a big thing for me. I wanted to make sure we had as much quality control as we could over this entire watch line.
So it sounds like, because this is being in essence created locally, that you have a not only an interest as the designer and the founder, but you're taking a literal physical interest in overseeing the production as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's no different than any other products that we do. I mean, I want to ensure that everything is top notch when it's going out. We got a great team that works with us and makes this type of stuff possible.
You mentioned off camera, and I'm going to go ahead and bring this up. So I hope it's okay that you've actually had at full retail a pretty significant response. So first of all, kudos to that. But secondly, I think that really speaks to the quality that you make. And I was wondering if you could give us a little insight as to the feedback you've gotten from collectors so far.
I mean, the feedback's been phenomenal. I mean, just a few minutes ago when you said you opened up the watch and you pulled it out of the box, that was really that wow factor. And I mean, everybody that's purchased a watch so far has, whether it's reaching out via email or social media, they have had that wow factor. They couldn't believe, even the people that have paid full price, 645 for this watch, they're like, this watch has so much value to it. We'd pay more for that happily. They're coming back to buying second watches. They're referring people. And that's right now what we're trying to do is, like I said, build our brand. So when we have people buying watches full price from a brand that they're not familiar with online, and then take the initiative to post it on their social media or tell one of their friends about it, and then they're coming and buying one too. I mean, it's phenomenal to see, especially as a young brand in the industry.
I was happy to see you mention it, because if I had gone there first, I think some people would have just said, "Yeah, well, of course you're going to say that." But here's what I want to share with you guys. As I mentioned, it wasn't that long ago that I got the shipment of these watches here at the TAW studio, and I really did take that first watch out. Well, the first thing I took out, just the way it was lined up in the shipping, was the actual packaging. So you open the dive case, and you can already feel the heft of it, and you open it up, and then you see the watch, and you go, my reaction was like, wow, because I never worked with Robert before, so I was like, I didn't really know what to expect, but I didn't expect that. I mean, the finish on this rivals, and when you get this home, you're going to see this is not an exaggeration. The finish on this rivals watches that go for four figures a hit. And then I take it out, and you feel that quality in the initial heft, and it's wow, this is, and you start to look at it. Now, look at some of the shots, for example, that we're bringing up that show this watch from the back. Look at, in fact, Robert, I'm going to bring you in on this as well. When you look at this from the back, it's the finish on the back and this amazing window, but also the finish that you've created on the movement. Because when I first, and make no mistake, guys, we're not implying different. This is the 9000 series movement, but the finish that Robert had created on this gives the appearance of either the high-end German or the high-end Swiss look.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of when you do an exposition case back like that, it kind of adds a little bit of a flair to watch. You know, it's a 9000 movement, so it doesn't have all the flashy looks to it, but it's still when you put it in a case like that and you have this finish around it, I mean, it pops out. I mean, you'll see when you see these watches in person, the close-up details where it goes from brush to polish, all these various finishes on these small angles on the watch. I mean, there's so much detail throughout this entire timepiece, and that's what people are saying to us when they're getting their watch. They're like, man, the more and more I wear and I look down at it, I always notice some new detail. And that's what people have been most impressed with, that, wow, you have a lot of little attention to detail things in here, whether it's throughout the entire dial or the case construction itself.
You know, that's what I was starting to get into earlier, and then I ended up sidetracking myself as usual. Is when you have this watch and you have a chance to wear it, you are amazed that this watch is not going for substantially more than $645. And I'm aware that sounds stereotypical for somebody presenting a watch to tell you guys, but when you get this, as you will in just a few days, you're going to see that I'm right. It's more than just creating a heavy watch. And Robert, you may want to comment on this too. Here's what I mean, and some of you may not know this. I'll do some really quick watch 101 because it's no secret in the watch industry that the physical weight of the watch became equated with the quality of the watch. Not necessarily true. And so some companies actually just started putting weights inside of the watch to make it heavy. They didn't improve the quality or anything. They would literally just put a weight inside of it. That's not what's going on here. The craftsmanship is magnificent. And Robert, I wonder if you could comment on that, but also you started to get into the detail. And one of the questions I'm often asked, and maybe you have thoughts on this too, is why do watches cost what they cost? And there's not a simple answer. There's a lot of ingredients, but one of them is it's the minutia, it's the detail. And you mentioned, for example, that you've got very specific areas that are brushed and specific areas that are polished. And when you see the transition from one to the other, it's razor sharp. You obviously are using a high-end facility in your case creation as an example.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see that as you get it in person, especially on the bezel. You know, you'll notice that it goes from a polish to brush finish a few times on there. And you know, when you say we're using a great manufacturer for our case, we really are. That's something I didn't skimp on either. I made sure that we were partnering with the best manufacturers out there that we could work with and still keep our price where we wanted to keep it at. But like I said, we have a great team of people, very skilled. You know, years and years of experience in the industry, working with some great brands. So
Well, one of the things I'm going to mention this very quickly, and I also wanted to hold up the all black one because I just think that's really cool, and I wanted to show this to you in person. Is I want to talk a little bit about the dial detail. How did you guys come up with the dial design? And much like the case, I'm assuming you must have gone again with a high end house to create a dial with this much detail in it.
yeah, so you know, it's kind of funny when I started designing this watch. I didn't look at other watches or say, "Ooh, I like that watch. I want to kind of replicate something like that." I was literally taking textures and finishes from different objects, whether it was something industrial or something like even a doorknob. If they had a texture or finish on it that I liked, I was taking pictures of stuff and combining it. The next thing I know, I just had this giant folder of pictures that was okay. It's a lot of brush, a lot of polish. You know, kind of had that industrial look to it. So I was just would start to play around and figure out, okay, how can I pull this together to kind of bring a little bit of industrial look to it, bring a little bit of that polished, clean look, still have a little bit of a rugged, big look to it. And then we ended up with the final product, and that was the Belfort.
How long did it take you from start to finish, approximately, to create something like this?
Little over 2 years, the entire process from design to making samples to going back, redesigning, going through and doing that whole process, and then successfully launching it and getting our production done and getting sales out there. Now it was a little bit over 2 years.
Did you expect it to be 2 years, or was that longer or shorter than you thought?
I didn't expect it to take 2 years, but then when I got involved in it and really got heavily involved in it, I realized that, you know what, to do this right, and my main goal was to make the Belfort watch the staple product of the modern made man product line. I said to do this right, I know it's going to take time and I don't want to rush or cut corners or anything. So I told myself however long it took, that's how long it was going to take because I didn't want to, I didn't want to skimp out on the customers. I really wanted to show them what we're capable of.
You know, that is a fantastic response to that question, because that's my attitude when I look at design. And the more you are in watches, and Robert and I are both in them for a living, is that you can see almost immediately the ones that decided to cut corners, and then the ones that decided, you know what, it's going to take a little longer, but it's going to be well worth the wait for both ourselves and for the consumer. And I can assure you that Modern Made Man is one of them, and Belfort is one of them. And again, I want to go over, if you're just joining us, as we're going through the shots, it could be a bit confusing because you're going to keep, you see those colors shifting, so, or not shifting, but changing in options. So here's what's happening, and this is very cool. You're going to start by choosing the case. Now you're going to choose the case in the finish, so it's either the silver or the black. Then you're going to choose the bezel, so you can choose silver or black. Again, any combination you want. Then you're going to choose the dial. Once again, any combination you want for the dial, right? So there's those three initially. You're going to choose the case that you want, then you're going to choose the bezel you want, and then you're going to choose the dial. Then you're going to decide which strap. Now, for all of you who have been clamoring for custom, can you understand why a lot of companies don't even mess with this? They just put together, here's one thing, and there you go. All right, but this, if you want custom, this is what it takes. So you're going to pick the case, you're going to pick the bezel, you're going to pick the dial, then one of three straps, either the gray that I happen to be wearing, and then there's also the brown, which is, I call it more of a luggage brown, sort of that antique Indiana Jones sort of a look. I'm not implying it's related to that, by the way, but it does have that 1930s, 40s appeal. And then you've got the leather strap that's got nylon top that looks like carbon fiber, and that's, of course, the most sporty of the three. This lists for $645, just as I stated it, right, with the one strap and then your options. You're not only going to get this TAW exclusive at $399, and I can assure you there's no guarantee that that's going to be the price moving forward, believe me. And frankly, Robert he's already selling these and has been for a while at full list, so he's really stepped up to make this accessible for you guys. But he's included two additional, I guess we could say, a gift with purchase included. And Robert, what were those again, sir?
We're going to have the poly sport strap, and then we're also going to include the black NATO strap.
Now, again, so everybody understands, these are usually sold separately. You're getting the whole thing as a unique package. I'm so looking forward to you guys getting this home, getting this on wrist, because I want you to start posting the pics when you get this and start posting the reviews. You are going to be ecstatic about the amount of watch that you've got here. This is kind of a basic one, which is, how did you arrive at the millimeter size on the case? Was it trial and error? How'd you come up with it?
It was a little bit of a trial and error. We did have a few samples that we made at different sizes, but I just kind of thought going with that 42 millimeter was the right fit for this overall style and design. To me, I don't think a 42 millimeter is too large, and I don't think it's too small. And overall, the feedback I've got on that size is everybody was very satisfied with it. I've had a few people that wish it was a little bit smaller, but they openly admit that, hey, we had that tiny wrist and that 42 millimeter is just slightly big for us.
I have to say, and obviously I've had the chance here to wear one of these, is this plays, in my opinion, larger than a 42. To glance at it, I would have guessed 44 to 45. Now, there's an advantage to that, by the way, guys, because you're going to have the physical presence that you're probably used to with a 44, 45, but you have a comfort factor of a 42. And a good rule of thumb with wristwatches is that the smaller sizes is where the comfort's going to be, and then the larger sizes, of course, where the physical presence is going to be. And I see this, Robert, as kind of a perfect melding of the two. I think you just nailed it with this piece.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're trying to go with there was have that bigger appearance to it, so it really popped out and people noticed on your wrist, but not where you're walking around and it felt like you had this big clunky thing on your wrist. We have good balance in it, and like I said, the 42 millimeter, that's a pretty comfortable fit for most wrists out there.
The one other question I have for you is it's not overly technical, but I think watch guys will find it interesting if you have an answer, and that is, how did you come to use the 9000 series? What was the process where you said that's going to be the engine for us?
I had a few watches in the past that were 9015s, and just really going through research and talking to a lot of customers in the market, people that are big in the micro brands, and really trying to find out what kind of movements people respected, what movements that they would pay around the 645 price for. And then overall, I just really think that it's a workhorse movement. I've never had issues with it. There's great feedback online about it. They have a good reputation for the 9000s.
Well, what I'm going to do here, Robert, is I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. We'll do a quick recap for everybody. I wanted to actually open the little recap section by showing you the packaging, because Robert, when he talks about that, he spent 2 years putting this together and not skimping. Even the packaging is a great indicator of that. Your documentation is actually located in the lid, and the padding actually comes out to find that. You can obviously see where the watch is. There's sections you can take out if you want to do things like store additional straps and so on. And enclosed, it does, as you can see, it is a miniature dive case. It even has the wrist strap on here, which is very cool. Now, getting into the watch itself, and I think this is brilliant because so many of you have over the years, man, I really wish, come on, we've all done this, right? You see the watch and you go, I wish I could have designed it because I would have done this color and so, okay, that's what you have here. Let's go over again how you're going to order this, because this is very cool. You're going to pick the case color. So as Sebastian is bringing in the different colors, notice that one of them is silver, one of them is black. And then you're going to pick the bezel, again, silver or black. Then you're going to pick the dial. Do you want silver or black? You're putting together the watch that you want. Then, beyond that, you're going to pick from 3 leather straps. There is the gray, and that's the one that I've been wearing. You did a great job on this gray, by the way, Robert. All your colors, I think, are spectacular. So the gray with contrast, the brown with contrast, and they're very thick leather straps, by the way, but they're also very soft and supple. Why? Hadley Roma makes the straps. And a lot of you guys already know Hadley Roma does some of the finest strap building, without exaggeration, in the world. They build some of the straps for the world's best watches. So the third option, by the way, is leather, but has a nylon top that resembles the carbon fiber. Okay, so those are the choices. Now, Robert has stepped up, and Robert, if you would, sir, if you could walk us through the 2 additional straps that you're including.
Yeah, just to kind of sweeten it up for everybody here, we're going to add 2 free straps. One's going to be the black NATO strap, and the other is going to be our poly sport strap, which is also another great comfy strap to have.
And again, you don't have to choose those guys. By the way, in the real world, you do have to choose them. They are sold separately. We have arranged a TAW exclusive where from $645, you have this at only $399. Shipping is included, and obviously you get the watch of your configuration and the dive case and your choice of leather strap, and then the 2 additional straps are being included at no additional charge. Robert, I want to thank you so much for being on the show. Obviously, the response on this is going to be incredible. Robert, any final thoughts for us?
No, I really enjoyed getting on the show. Glad we finally got to do this. Super excited to see what type of feedback we get back from the community once they get their watches in the mail. I look forward to seeing everybody make some posts on social media, help spread the word. Like I said right now, we want to get as many watches on wrists as we can, and we know everybody's going to be satisfied with them.
This is such a beautiful build. Sapphire crystal, very heavy, but yet balanced. I'm very excited to have you guys get this home and see the reviews, and of course post it over on our page, talkaboutwatches.com on Facebook. Robert Marlinski, founder of Modern Made Man, and of course the creator of Belfort. Thank you for being here. Thank you everybody in the audience. If you have additional questions, you can hit us up, info@talkaboutwatches.com. My name is Tim, and we'll see you guys back here really soon for another edition of TAW Live. Be well, everybody.
See you guys.